Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have Brian Gillard here, a multi-passionate entrepreneur, branding expert, transformational coach, rock star, and actor. Brian, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
We're really, really happy to have you here. Can you please start us off? Do us the honors. Tell us all about that. So what do you do day in, day out? Actor, rock star, coach, branding expert. Give it to us.
Yeah, really becoming an entrepreneur is about solving problems. And I had such a hard time in growing my coaching business. I really want to impact people's lives and help people become the best versions of themselves so that they can have the best relationships in their life. But also part of that, who you become, stems into the level of business that you're going to be able to reach and who you're going to be able to impact. And that's ultimately kind of what created Bellyful Films, was seeing essentially we've really come into a trust recession in the coaching business. Everyone read that purple book by Alex Hormozi and created an offer, be able to offer that to the marketplace. And it's a great book, but everyone and your mom knows about it and is using it to offer someone their dreams, their goals, their aspirations, so that they give you money. And I'm not saying everyone, but not everyone is at that caliber or level to be able to offer that service to create that result. You may have the best intentions, but not necessarily the outcomes that this person invested in. So what happened is a lot of people bought, especially 2020, 2021, and then a lot of people got resentment, and it created this distrust in the economy. And I had a little bit of a late start in my coaching career, and I saw that, and essentially I knew that we needed to create to overcome this challenge. Right, as an entrepreneur, your intention is to create and solve problems, and create solutions that solve those problems. And Bellyful Films is essentially what I did in creating a branding video that creates a know, like, and trust with your marketplace so that your marketing actually works for your ideal client.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely something I've noticed for sure. Everyone, you go online and everyone and their mother, starts a page, their coach, their so-and-so, which doesn't mean it's not true. But like you said, how can I know I can actually trust this person? How would you establish that trust? What are the elements of trust?
Yeah, so there's so many different ways. And, I've been really studying trust for a long time and being able to really establish that. And, success leaves clues. So, you study this over time, you can see that you can reverse engineer this trust. And, there's so many different ways to this. And I don't want to talk about like manipulation or tactics or strategies. I'm really, through and through, it's really about being authentic to your true self, showing up as your authentic self, being able to cut through so that you're undeniably you. Anyone can really create a script, and actually, they can scan your face, create a script, and have this AI thing like rehearse this script. But eventually people are going to ask a question like, is this person real? Are they who they say they are? Right. And so they're going to see, and they're going to come into a sales call. They're going to start your program. And they're going to say, this isn't what I bought. You're not who I thought you were. And that's going to create more distrust. So being your most authentic self is the name of the game. And it's unapologetically being yourself. But underneath that, there's another core essence here, and that's in your intention. What's your intent? Having the right intention and by being your most authentic self is going to allow people to trust you because they see that you have their best interest in mind. And lastly, of course, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Results. You're able to showcase your results in a way that people say, I want that. This person worked. It worked for her. I see myself as that person or very similar. And lastly, and this is a huge part of authenticity, is having the results in your own life and being able to showcase them to your audience. And so sometimes people will rent a Lamborghini for the day. They'll rent a penthouse and they'll take the pit. They'll do the marketing day and they'll say, hey, like, look at me. Like, do you want these things? Just rent it and it'll be yours. Right.
Yeah.
And truth be told, it's inauthentic and it resonates for some people. They buy your thing and the intention was just to get their money. And the result of that is they lose that trust.
Yeah.
Right. So to create the real trust is being authentic, having real intention to have impact in people's lives and be able to showcase the results in other people's lives, but also and mainly in your own life.
Absolutely. We've definitely seen that happen with a lot of our clients, which is maybe the other side of the coin when it comes to social media and like the social media space in particular. Whereas you'll have people online, like you say, you know, okay, I've got to build this image of myself. I've got to be able to sell this. I've got to be able to make people believe that this is like my actual life. And they'll go and they'll rent and all these things. And like you said, you know, have one day where they film all the content and then blast it out. But then people will come on the call. They'll be like, actually, I don't really think this is real, or like,
Yeah.
I think you've made this up. But what our clients in particular have gone through before working with us is that they are authentic and they are doing the work. They're putting the reps in, they're putting the time in, but they might be busy. They might not have, you know, the expertise on how to actually put themselves out. Because I mean, in this day and age, if you're gonna be a coach, like you're gonna have to have an online profile, yes or yes, you know what I mean? And that, I think, is part of establishing trust, because the first thing people do when they hear your name, they're like, okay, I'm just going to look this person up. And as shallow as it might be, but they'll be like, oh, okay, 100 followers, maybe not, you know. But then suddenly you see 10K, 20K, 30K, whatever plus. They're like, oh, this person's legit, whether or not that's true. But it could be difficult for people who are actually trying to be authentic, and they're having trouble establishing that aspect of trust online. What are your thoughts about that? Like, what are your thoughts about perhaps vanity metrics or like the virality of things and trust?
Yeah, you know, there's so many distractions out there, and you know, there's and if I truly understand your question, it's like, what are the metrics of trust? Is that where you're trying to save, like, through social media?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, you know, a lot of these key things is you can get distracted in the metrics. How many likes did you get? How many comments? Is it engaging? Is it pulling views? And it's it can really a real rabbit hole and being hard on yourself. And you know, I tell you what, there's just something about having that key focus of intention and what is your messaging and refining. And there's always, of course, getting better. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you got to play your own tune. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen this effect at like a concert, but someone's got to be the first one to start dancing, right?
Yeah.
Someone's got to be the first one to start dancing. And you keep dancing. You don't just sit down, you keep dancing. Because why? Not because people want to look at you, but because you want to dance. And there's just something that happens with persistence and refining your messaging and refining how you're speaking to camera and the intention and what is your impact to the world? You know, what is your offer, and refining that. over and over again until it makes sense. But you get better in the reps and you get better in the repetition. I was terrible. I mean, to be honest, I'm really honing in on my own video content, but my copywriting's super tight, and I really enjoy creating it. I have a great time in doing it, and it's really effective because I understand the key principles in copywriting to be able to, really draw out my ideal client based on my offer. And it's challenging stuff because it's, in my coaching business, I talk about, attraction, laws of attraction, manifestation, principles of the universe, and being able to create the life and love that you desire and deserve. And that's not everyone's cup of tea, right? And does that mean, I got to curtail my message for them? Or do I stick to what I know and what I want and how I want to say what and how I want to impact others? Over time, people started to get it. They started to pick it up. Everyone starts dancing, right? And when people start dancing, it's because that one person gave them permission to dance. And so it's really about the reps and really the intention and how you want to impact people by being persistent in your messaging and refining and refining and refining along the way so that it starts to impact those people that you intended to in the first place.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video because that chat might just change your life.
Can you tell us more about Bellyful Films, your coaching business? What is it that you offer? Who are you doing this for, and what happens inside?
Yeah, so I've really been able to create some freedom in my life. Freedom that I thought was never available to me. I used to be the guy that had multiple jobs and had this dream, this idea. Today has been, it's Wednesday. And a lot of these things are about they came about and are driven through solving problems in your life, that every problem creates a desire. Right. And, it was one of those things that I was hustling and grinding, and I was doing all this stuff and had multiple jobs to support my family. And it was really challenging. It was hard on my marriage. It was hard on my kids. And I really just saw the disconnect and how this was affecting us over time. And I still had this dream. And there was a huge moment where I really jumped off and really did the thing. But a lot of the problem was a strain in my relationship. I just wanted to have, more sex in my relationship. I wanted to enjoy my dream girl. I wanted to enjoy my family. And it sounds so basic, but it was I have this dream. I really want to create this freedom in my life. And, today it was, by creating this, these multiple businesses and income streams. A lot of hard work was required, but, the byproduct of that is, and now is freedom. I was able to drop my kid off at daycare. I worked out with my wife. We had sex this morning. It was a good day to start my day. Now I'm on a podcast getting to talk to you. And a lot of this started from pain, right? And it was how am I going to create and solve this problem? And I had to commit to creating and solving these problems, but then the solutions arrived. So Bellyful Films, was an idea and concept. I really understood the trust recession that we're in the coaching business. And I was doing a lot of messaging. I was investing in coaches. And I remember, I had this dream. I told my wife about it. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to do this thing now. And, our baby was just born. I had all these jobs. I had all these, I was tired. And she's like, what are you talking about? It's okay. I'm going to invest $5,000 with this company. They're going to get me 10 clients guaranteed. It's going to work. Everything's going to be fine. Everything was not fine. They did not fulfill. I got 0 clients and I was $5,000 out, money I did not have. And I still invested, and it was really challenging and tough. But the look on her face, to see her, in that disappointment, like, what are you doing with her? I'm trusting you with my life. We have a family together. What are you doing? Like, and to some other people, they don't get it. They don't think on that wavelength. And I respect it and I accept it and I get it. And it was like, man, I'm trying, I'm pushing out posts, goose egging. No one's talking to me, not creating any traction. And it was really challenging. And then again, I invested $10,000 with another company. Oh, we're going to make the system. We're going to funnel it. It's all going to work out. And I was like, all right, maybe it's twice as the price of my first investment. It's got to be twice as good. If I can at least get a couple clients, I'll make some money, and then I'll have the machine, the well-oiled machine that's going to make every, my client generation system work. And that didn't work. 0 clients, about $15,000 paid in all in with paid ads. And it was like the disappointment, and seeing that look on my wife's face, like literally scared to death. Like, what are you doing with our money? What are you doing with our lives? Meanwhile, luckily at that point, I was able to organically begin to make, $10,000 plus a month systematically, but it was requiring me a lot of time, but it was consistent. And so we were starting to bank out. So it wasn't like dire straits, but there was still this thing. And I was like, I know we can get better, and I know we can get to that place. Clearly paid ads for this transformational offer isn't it. So then we create this brand film, a film that really creates the know, like, and trust factor. It's 2 to 3 minutes, nothing crazy, but it creates that time attention that it needs for your ideal client to know, like, and trust you, so that your marketing is creating a deeper and deeper impact. I can create one post right now and fill my calendar for the week. I've done it successfully. This video is pinned on my wall, and it's on a website. It's there so that, and it's even on my card, my business card, as like a QR.
Good.
So the introduction, the top end funnel, people know what you do. They know who you are. And there's this level of empathy, vulnerability that's shared in this video, and it's captivated in a way that is, it's cinematic storytelling at its best to create that know, like, and trust factor with your ideal client. And as this introduction, as a first message to people that follow me, they're seeing the video, and all of a sudden the conversations were a little bit different. That essentially I've made way more money organically than I have through paid ads. Again, am I against paid ads? No. But what I saw was there's a different way to, to really earn that trust with someone organically by being yourself.
Yeah.
So this isn't about tactics and strategies. It's really your essence that really shines through in the video. But since that video, I was able to triple my income. So it's one of those things that I saw, and it was mainly because of the trust factor. And I don't have like a make money offer. And again, it was like to be able to move through that with my partner. Ultimately, we got closer. But there was a point where it was like I'd either have to shit or get off the pot. I'd either have to quit and go back to like corporate America or get a regular job. And I just had this dream. I had bigger and better things for my family that I have in mind, and I had to persist, just like everyone else out there. Have to throw ideas against the wall and refine it and do it again. I mean, it's really challenging, it can be discouraging, but I just want them to know, if you're listening and you felt like that you just got to keep going, have a clear vision in your mind.
Thank you for sharing that. I know a lot of our listeners are going to relate to a lot of the things that you said, the reasons behind, the pains and of course the dream, you know. What are your systems looking like now? I'm really interested in finding out a little bit more about like the ins and outs, like the little tiny bits of this machine that you've created, perhaps that does bring in the clients, it does bring in the income. You've mentioned your brand video that's pinned on your page. Are there any other systems? I know you did mention the organic and perhaps not the paid ads, which is perfectly fine. We do that as well for our clients. But is there something in particular, like specifically, that you find works the best for you?
Yeah, there's always going to be different systems that work different for your business, like any other business. But the sales are done in the conversation like this, right? Being able to have these conversations is it's a first touch point and actually getting to interact and create the know, like, and trust factor. But it's also your chance and ability to impact people's lives. So what's the byproduct of your marketing? And really, so it's creating those conversations, the engagement, whether it's a comment, the post to comment, to DM, to book call, to close, right? Like whatever.
Yeah.
That's generally, if I wanted to sum up the funnel, that's historically going to be there, but it's there because of the fundamentals and foundations in my marketing, in my essence, and who I am, and being able to know my ideal client through and through. What are their pain problems? What are their challenges? What are their obstacles? What is the bridge to get them to their desired result? What are their desires? What do they really want? Right? Being able to speak to that in a way that they know I know the problem better than they do, and I can get them there. And so the conversation then, once you're on the call, this is really where the magic happens. The interaction, the exchange, the connection that you have with your prospect. Like without this, no sale is ever done. Right. And so being able to, of course, have a refined sales process. But then again, it's not, I think that's the thing that a lot of coaches don't understand. It's like the byproduct of all your marketing. If you hate your marketing, the byproduct of that is to impact people's lives. Right. Without your ability to crush your marketing really well, you can't impact people's lives. So the intentionality is like, well, go ahead and go and master your marketing so that you can. And I think that's just really it's not anything. It's very simple. Simple always works. It's nothing, it's not a one sheet. It's not I do presentations. I do master classes, right? I think that will work and that will serve people. But again, it's just the elements and the minutia of the presentation that still go to what? A call where you're connected with someone and they know that the problem better than they do, and you have a process to get them to where they want to go. So that's where the sale is made every time. And it's the intention. My intention is not to get money. My intention is to have them know that if they invest in themselves today, their life is going to be dramatically different in 3 to 4 months from now. Like it's going to be an absolute night and day difference. Right. So I think people have that, I call it like commission breath, where they have it where like, I need a sale right now. And that just like breeds. So you do all this work, right, to set up the call. And then you get on the call with them and you screw it up because you're so desperate for the sale. But that's what your essence creates your substance. So being able to have that authenticity, that intentionality, to have their best intentions in mind.
For sure.
Really listen to them.
Yeah, like all commission breath, that's really funny.
are so important, because then you have this desperation. The desperation cuts through and they're like, your marketing's good, your stuff, I like that, thank you, but no thank
Yeah.
you on the sale
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're
yeah.
so desperate for it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It always comes through. It really always comes through. You can smell it a mile away.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Um, I would love, not just me, I'm sure our listeners would love to know, business-wise, where is Bellyful right now? How's it doing? What is your offering? Who's your ideal client? Our listeners might be one of your next clients. So it'd be nice to share a little bit more about, what you guys offer, like tangibly. What can you expect from you guys? And then I'd also love to know how the business is doing generally, like revenue wise per month. Is it consistent? How is it going?
Yeah. So we are 100% done for you video branding service. We specialize in cinematic storytelling, being able to create the one video asset your brand actually needs to showcase to your ideal client so they know, like, and trust you before they ever meet you, so that all of your marketing that you're doing is actually going to be listened to. And the more effective you are with that, the more effective you can get to those sales calls because they believe that you can help them. And that's your key intention. So we work with thought leaders, we work with consultants, we work with, really game changers that want to impact the world and create a positive impact. And, so that's coaches, law firms, doctors, people that own a business, and you are your brand, whether you know it or not. And and the thing about being a storyteller, and what's really important about that is if you don't tell your story to the world, then the people will make up a story about you. Right. So it's really important to tell your story because that's what makes you relatable to your ideal client. And, it's really one of those things that we create these assets that can be repurposed as video ads. So we have like this brand film that is really about your mission, your values, your story, and your service. And it's all pieced together in a very unique way that is able to speak to your ideal client. We can repurpose that into 60-second, 30-second, 15-second ads, video ads that then creates like the funnel to book a call. And it's been very successful for our clients. So this is a new partnership with one of my best friends. We've been friends for over 30 years. And yeah, I know, it's crazy. And so what's great about that is he's been in this game he's a cinematographer, and he's been doing that for over 10 years. And so I tell you, it's like having a Netflix documentary about your company, your values, your mission, all within 3 minutes. And it's not hokey, it's not cheesy, it's done in an organic way that allows your authenticity to shine. And I think that's really why this really works, is because we're using these key principles in storytelling, but also in authenticity and creating that trust and connecting emotionally with your ideal client. And so I would say that's really who we work with, what we do. And of course, we're kind of stemming into social media and creating, social media content for our clients. And, but, we can really create any video assets that, corporate America would need, but also, mainly for your independent business, whether you're a dentist, a doctor, pediatrician, you own a rehab. All those things are so super important so that you can stay in front of your ideal client. They say visibility is profitability, right? So you got to stay out there. And if you have $1 million company, you need to look like $1 million, right? So, so that's essentially what we do, how we do it. So we fly to you. We take care of the whole shoot. It's all planned. You just need to show up. We'll map the whole day out. We storyboard it. We get this done in about 24 hours. So in one day you can still work and keep up with all your business acumen that you need to in the day. But we take care of everything for you. Then we take all the footage, we edit it, piece it together. We work with you, part of the process, making sure that this is, all a done with process, but we do everything for you. But we just want to make sure it's in your image, in your style, how you want to be perceived. Because this video, yeah, we do it for you, but of course we want this to really represent you the best way possible. And we generally are done and we have your video within 2 weeks,
Oh, wow, amazing.
yeah. So, if you needed to run ads, by the end of the month, we're ready for you on
That's
that.
really good.
And that really works, especially with brand awareness and staying in front of your ideal client.
Of
And
course.
that introduction is like, it's one like no other, because it really connects with your ideal client on an emotional level, which has them remember you when they need you.
Right. And it cuts through the noise, of course,
Yeah.
of
So
the stuff you
revenue
find
wise,
online.
again, this is a new partnership.
Okay.
So
How many,
we,
like within the year?
so within 6 months,
Oh, wow.
we
Congratulations.
have a product that's unique to the marketplace. Historically we've been doing, like law firms, doctors, dentists, like that. But I really want to extend this to the coaching space, because I've seen it in my personal business, how this was able to connect in the trust factor to overcome the trust recession, that problem that a lot of people are having in connecting with their ideal client. Have great intentions, but overcoming that trust with skeptical people. And they should be skeptical because, they've been had. I mentioned 2 times I've been had, in my own experience. And that's tough. It's really hard to put a sour taste in your mouth. You'd rather just stick with the problem and suffering. But yeah, it's really impacted my audience on a whole nother level, because as that introduction in the DM is a huge step, because then they feel like they know, like, and trust me. And then when they meet me, there's congruence, because I am who I presume to be online. There's no difference, right? You see is what you get. So that has allowed me to produce in sales and triple my income in my coaching business. So, and Bellyful, we were right now, we did $75,000 the last 30 days. And and I think, really we're just keeping on going. We have a live presentation coming up with a lot of local business owners in the Atlanta area. And, I imagine that will be highly successful, but we're just getting started. And, this is a good start, but it's just based on having a great product, being able to cut through. We're using, what we apply and do with our clients in our own business. By having these videos to represent our work, but also creating these ads for ourselves and speaking to that ideal client. So it's proving to be true, because video is king right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Industry.
Yeah, for sure. And the clients that you get, are they typically like they'll do a project with you and that's typically like one and done, or is it kind of a follow-up, follow through, through that journey? What does that look like?
We really like long-term relationships. I never want anyone to feel like this is a handshake and a goodbye. It's really, we work on a project with someone and, we fulfill their needs. And it's really based on what they need. If they have a brand video and they have that, and then we cut that into the ads that they need to represent them as the top end funnel to create their engagement with their ideal client, then great. And then they can give us a call later. Hey, I need a VSL done. Hey, I need I need like a FAQ video, or I want to do my social media content with you, in which case we do this in a cinematic way. We're really specializing like creating like these skits or things like that, but we do it all for you. So we can create 3 months of content in a day, after we film with you, and then we can post it for you, but generally we just hand it over. So it's based on project. What does this client need? If they don't need any other video assets besides that, then they're pretty good. But generally, having more in-depth, FAQs about what they serve and what they do may need to be completed as well.
Yeah, for sure. So typically start like on that initial brand video, the first project, and then obviously, it happens and they're happy with it and they'll call you back and it will stem into different things because, top of mind, why wouldn't they call you back? And how did these clients come to you? Was it through social media? Was it through your website?
Yeah. So a lot of clients will find us on Instagram, bellyful.films on IG, LinkedIn. You can find me at Brian Gillard, Bellyful Films as well as, so generally there. And then, we have ads running like all the time. So we're on Facebook as well. So we're on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So we're just a DM away, or you can catch one of our ads out there and go ahead and, if you're interested, follow that. But, anyone can always DM me about anything, whether that's, creating a brand film for them or, needing help in their organic on social media.
Where do you find you get most traction, particularly with new clients, not necessarily with, the ongoing, but where do these new clients come from specifically? Is it more from the ads, more from, a comment in your video or something like that?
So yeah, it's applying all the strategic marketing the same way on Facebook or Instagram. And I think that's something so a lot of people, they're probably hitting their head against the wall right now. And I really want to speak to that frustration. It's really the basics. It's the fundamentals and marketing and messaging that's always going to work. It's not some shiny object thing that's going to get you to 10K. It's really the messaging. What's your offer and how are you communicating them to a sales call? What's that process?
Yeah.
And I just applied the same principles to LinkedIn. And so because we have a B2B offer with Bellyful Films, business to business, a lot of our clients are on LinkedIn. And so we've been very successful on LinkedIn. We are running ads, but to be honest, LinkedIn has been more fruitful than the paid ads, but we're still optimizing our audience and our ad sets as well.
Of course. Of course, has to be. What would be last two questions I have for you? I'm not gonna take up too much more.
No, you're good. This is great. I'm having a blast.
Oh, me too. I'm glad to hear that. Our listeners really love this part actually, and love to know the obstacles. What challenges are you facing in your business? Because a lot of our listeners are business owners, small business owners, they're just starting. And it feels like all they can see, all they live through is challenges, problems, And it's really nice to listen to people like you who have established their business, they found the thing that's working for them. But are there still challenges for you, and what are they?
Absolutely. Challenges, conflicts are unavoidable. They are part of life, and the more you avoid them, the worse they get, right? So it's inevitable, and being able to have a process to be able to solve these problems and work through them. There's so many different ways it's a great question. A lot of your business is only going to get to the level of where you're at. There's this mirror relationship that you have with everybody. That's going to really ignite some things within yourself. I think the best investment that you could ever create is the investment in yourself, because that's the only investment you'll be able to ensure that the rest of your investments are fruitful. Right. So, I wanted someone else to do the thing for me. I paid $5,000. I disappointed my wife. I paid $10,000. I sacrificed my time with my children. I sacrificed a lot of relationships in my life. It came down to so there's another point here, but it's taking on these conflicts. It's taking on these conflicts head on, and being able to overcome them is by focusing on the solutions to them. Every problem creates a desire, and being able to focus on that. And by being able to invest in myself consistently over amount of time, the problems are always going to be the same, but I got better, right? That's what Jim Rohn said. He says, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And I know that's kind of like a hokey, cheesy type of thing, but the more that you invest in yourself, the more that you can overcome these challenges. The stress, the challenges are always going to be there, but as you invest in yourself and as you get better, you get to rise over these problems, the same problems that are always going to be there. The stress is always going to be there. It's just you were able to overcome them because you persisted and you learned and you did something different. And so to remain teachable, to be able to, for me, every day is day one. I'm coachable. I'm not set in my ways. I know that the only constant is change. What works today isn't going to work tomorrow, right? So there's so many things that, I try not to get drawn into the tactics and so there's a lot of hype in the coaching industry. So there are these, this is what's working now. It's the slide deck. It's it's this funnel and this shiny thing. And I'm just telling you that there's some foundations in marketing and principles in marketing that if you apply them, they're going to work, especially if your intentions are there. And I just doubled down in those foundations. I avoided marketing like the fucking plague. I hated marketing and I just didn't ever want to learn it. And what I learned is it impacted my business.
Right, of course.
Right. And so I had to overcome that and start to, instead of resisting it, I started to accept that change. Like I need to master marketing, my messaging, my offer, how I speak to people in the comments, how do I speak to them in the DMs, like all these little pieces I started to work on because I stopped resisting and avoiding the problem to begin with. So I think that's really it. And if you face these challenges and problems rather than run away and avoid them, they're going to get easier, not because they're harder or worse. It's just because you know how to overcome them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, to wrap things up, I've got one more question for you. What are your plans, or particularly Bellyful's plans for 2025? What are your goals for the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, our goal is to really create a multi-seven-figure business and to really tell some great stories. We want to tell the stories of, again, thought leaders, people that really want to create change in the world, stories that deserve to be told. Everyone has one, and no matter how irrelevant you believe it is, it's very relevant to someone that needs to hear it. And that's really the basis of who we are. We're about, telling stories that feed the soul and really light us up and make us come alive. And that's our ultimate chief aim goal in Bellyful Films, is really being able to be a positive light into society and telling these stories that deserve to be told. And, ultimately we want to get into the documentary game. And that's a huge vision of ours as well. But currently we're doing it, one brand video at a time, being able to create and impact businesses so that they do hit those 6 and 7 figures, the 6 and 7 figure marks in their revenue. And that's built on the foundation of their brand. And by being able to touch and impact businesses on that level, it means everything to us. And it's one of those things that we're passionate about and we love, mainly because we've been there and we want to be able to help to get you to where you want to go, to create that vision that you have for your life, for your family, and for the people that you've been called to serve.
Of course. Well, that's really great to hear. I actually have one last question, just out of curiosity.
I'm an open book. You're good.
I love that you said that you want to grow the business to multiple 7 figures. I think that's an awesome goal. But for our listeners, a lot of people, say, I want to get to that, but they don't know how. Other than continuing doing what you're doing in terms of serving your clients and just continuing, putting stuff out there in terms of ads, is there a particular action plan that you have in place to get to that?
Yeah, it's just really the basics. There's 3 ways to scale your business. that I know of, right? Or to create multiple, to create that income stream so that you're at 7 figures. A is to raise your prices. B is to trade your money for time so it saves you time, right? And then 3 is to make your money make you more money, right? So that's in essence the name of the game. And so, yeah, I think our real core intention is to expand into other territories, like the coaching space. We're looking at rehab facilities. We've done a number of nonprofits, and we really want to expand into other territories and really provide them a great brand video that creates that introduction for their clients. And in lieu, they're able to serve more people. And that's really how we're doing that. So currently our prices are very reasonable, and they're also, which gives us the space to raise our price. And then of course the ability to scale into other territories and industries. The ones I just mentioned, the dental space looks very great. The rehab facility space looks amazing. And then honestly, there's a lot of coaches that know what they're doing that need a better brand so that they can impact more people. And if they're around $20,000 a month, being able to get them to $50,000, $100,000, and it's not the money, it's really about people that they're able to impact. It's a reflection on how they're impacting people. And so, yeah, I think that's so spreading into other territories, eventually raising our prices. Our prices are really healthy right now, and being able to scale by, essentially getting in more skilled editors, more streamlined process that allows us to expedite our work, but without sacrificing the integrity of our finished product. And so that's, essentially how you scale, right? Just to build this machine, keep it going. And
Absolutely,
so I think that's the intention to get to 7 figures for us.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have a final message for our listeners before we part ways?
Yeah, I would say a huge part of entrepreneurship is, making a decision. And sometimes that decision is we get stuck in habits. And the longer you have a habit, it's hard to break. Right. And so to make that real decision, if you break down the word decision, it means to cut off, to really cut off all possibilities from those former comfortable habits and start doing the decision that deep down in your heart that you need to make, and making your business work. And I think that's really where all growth stems from, is making that decision in your life. And, you can always wait for tomorrow. Why not start right now? Why not start today? And I say that for myself. I say that for the people that are listening. And I know deep down, that's an inherent truth to really create some change in not only your life, but other people's lives as well. The people that you've been called to serve, that someone is going to bed tonight worse off because they didn't hear your message. And I think that's something that's, that decision to change now to get your message out there to help them.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for all of that. That's a great message. And thank you for your time. That was really wonderful. I had a really great time. And I can't wait to see where this goes for Bellyful Films.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure hanging out. And yeah, best of luck to you as well.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?